network. Thank you everyone for your time this morning. As we all know, Safer Internet Day is usually a yearly celebration and campaign for safety on the internet for young ones and young adults, and also generally the internet users globally. But the focus this year is, their global theme this year rather, is inspiring change, making a difference, managing influence, and navigating change online, where all stakeholders and policymakers are called to ensure a safer cyberspace for all. And it all falls on users, providers of internet services, guardians of young adults, parents of young adults, to ensure that all are safe, because what you put out there is what others will see. And once the content and what everybody is viewing or seeing online is negative, those that are consuming these data consuming a negative one. This year marks the 21st anniversary of Safer Internet Day. It was set aside mainly to campaign for the awareness of safe use of the cyberspace for children and young adults, and also general users. But most importantly, this year, there's a huge focus on making a difference while you are enabled to use the internet technology and managing the influence of activities on the cyberspace on the young adults and children, but not left out with what these policy makers, service providers, and also stakeholders are ready to say on this issue. And this morning, I have with me quite a number of my organdams in the house, and also I have quite a number of cybersecurity professionals as well joining today. We have Professor Engineer Mohamed Ajia in the house. We appreciate your time. We have Dr. Yele Okeremi in the house as well. Sorry, Professor Engineer Mohamed Ajia is the president and CEO of Digital Bridge Institute. Dr. Yele Okeremi is the group managing director of Precise Financial Systems Limited, PFS. And we have Madam Titi Adewusi. She's the co-founder of Niger Kids. We have Mr. Ben Ilodigwe, is the IT manager at Inlax Limited. And we also have Mr. Jide Awe of, I hope I'm not pronouncing the Awe wrong. Mr. Jide Awe of GDOS Systems Limited is the Chief Executive Officer of GDOS Systems Limited. And we have Ayo Eyuhome, sorry, correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm not pronouncing your name properly, also as part of the conversation this morning. But before we delve into speakers' insights, I want to ask generally, do we need more regulation of the social media and cyberspace to protect users of internet technology? Let's start off with Prof.
Thank you very much, Moji.
Prof,
thank you, everybody.
can we have your
very good
response
morning.
on this?
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah, all right. At least you guys are hearing me.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much, Moji, and all people around and those watching us. I believed, there should be some more regulations, like you rightly said, even though we have to be very careful on infringing on, our privacies and things like that. But the cyberspace is certainly uh, now more exposed to so many things that we may need to require, very strict regulations such that all those challenges to do with the internet at least capped, or we have a way of at least addressing them. Uh, this include, of course, the fake news and all other challenges. So I'm an ardent supporter of seeing more regulations to curb, and streamline and make the cyberspace more lively and more usable. Thank you very much. Moji, having difficulty with the system?
Thank you very much, sir. No, but can you hear me, sir?
Oh, sure, I can.
Oh, okay. Okay. Dr. Yele Okere, yes, sir. Um, we will say on this.
Thank you very much, Moji. Thank
Can
you
you
for
hear me, sir,
inviting me.
Dr. Yele?
Yes, I'm responding already. Thank you for inviting me, and congratulations once
Oh,
again
okay.
to the team for this very important program. Sometimes we do not appreciate how important these kind of conversations are, particularly in our lives now. When I look at this room, the people that are in the room right now having this conversation, I try to gauge the age of for many of us. When we were growing up, we lived with real people. We played with real people, and yes, we had those kind of real communities. But these are the days where people are popular, or they measure their popularity based on how many people are following them on social media. These are the days when people they want to do everything on social media. I mean, it's absolutely surprising that even people, even while having private moments like eating breakfast or lunch, they put it on social media. And perhaps that might have even been nice, but for the fact that a lot of the things that we see on social media, by the time we verify the authenticity of some of those things, we find that some of those information on the media are not true. And therefore, they give the wrong impression of what actually is going on. And I think these are dangers. And the issue is that, again, because it's social sciences, it's not easy to measure or predict specifically. But I have a feeling that in the next 10, 15 years, we're going to begin to see the results of some of the damage that's been caused by this kind of recklessness. And therefore, I would say that there has to be responsibility for those that control the platforms. And I think one of the reasons why a number of things are happening is that the controllers of the platforms are not brought to account or made responsible for things that are on their platform. For people like Muji who are journalists, you would agree with me that in the days of yore, when Bayero co started journalism, journalists were responsible for whatever they presented or published. But today, everybody is a journalist. Anybody can, write anything. And a number of times, whether true or false, people believe it. So I am of the opinion that there has to be bodies, including the sovereigns of respective nations, that create laws and rules that must necessarily govern what goes on social media. I know this is going to be hard, but I think it is necessary and required. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yele, for your input on that. While we are still on, do we need more regulation of the social media and cyberspace to protect users of internet technology, especially in Nigeria? So I would like to have um, sorry, Miss Adeosi, sorry, uh, your response, please.
Okay. Thank you very much. Good morning again, everyone. I think I'll take a lead from what Dr. Yele said in the sense that um, if you look at the physical world,
Mhm.
there are restrictions. So, take for instance, if you go and say something that is not true about someone, they can actually take you to court for defamation. But we find that, when you look at on the internet, people can spread something that they haven't verified and it goes like wildfire, even though it's not true. And that's because there's no consequence for that. So people will take news, it's not verified, and then the next thing is all over the place. Then later on someone has come out and say, oh, we're sorry. So when you look at it, yes, I would say that we need more regulation. It's the same thing when we look at when we're growing up, whether it was in TV, radio, things that were not appropriate for children. They would say that it has to come with some of those restrictions. You couldn't put things that were not appropriate for children during the time slots for children. So those restrictions were to protect, but we find those restrictions are not adhered to on the digital space. And so for me, it's yes, we do need the restrictions. We do need to be able to achieve the balance between, your freedom, of expression. We also need individual rights, but at the same time to protect every person. So sometimes I'm on social media and people are already saying my first thing is like, has someone confirmed this? But people don't care. It's sensational. And so the next thing they're doing it. Someone can be spiteful and want to bring you down, want to bring down your business. And then they will just go and say something and then it's all over the place. Forgetting that no matter the kind of business we all run, will there be days that there are issues? Yes, there'll be days there are issues. Will there be days that there are customer complaints? Yes, there are customer complaints. But when someone takes this customer complaint that you haven't even complained to me, the owner, and then go and take it on social media, people that have never even known my business, then that is like almost destructive. um we have in for businesses, a lot of businesses will say and say, oh, if we have issues, these are the channels to channel them so that we can deal with it. But you see people just go and then just go and call businesses out on social media. And sometimes I see those things and say, what are you trying to achieve? Are you really trying to achieve, for them to resolve your issue, or you're really trying to bring these businesses down? So for me, I would say yes, we need those restrictions. We need to be able to do the restrictions without it being stifling, but at the same time, I think to protect businesses, to protect individuals, to even protect our sanity. Something that Dr. Yele was saying, whereby people are eating and then it's all over social media. Someone is traveling, everybody knows it. If you look at the other side of what it does, is that it's also putting people on due pressure. That's why people are going to commit more fraud, because they feel that that's what everybody's doing and getting away with it. And there's no penalty for that. So the more you see all those things, it also puts those pressure. When we talk about mental health, also those are some of the things. When you think your friend that just was passing, saw a G-Wagon and took a picture, means he has a picture. Or he went to look for a property in Banana Island and he went to go and take a picture. You feel that he has blown. Put on all those undue pressure. And in the end, he still lives somewhere in maybe Agege. But that's not the story that people are bringing out. So I would say yes, we do need those restrictions. We do need to create those balances. Will people continue to do those things? I'm not saying they won't, but I'm just saying if we can put checks and balances where it's necessary to protect, then I think we should, to protect children, to protect businesses, to protect individuals. I think it's important that we do so. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Titi, for your input on that. And I believe other speakers will also have more to say. We have already in the house, sorry. lawyer, or am I supposed to say SAN? Ife Iono, please wave if you can hear me. Aha. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for your time. Before I come to you, Lawyer Ife, I would like to hear Mr. Ben Ilodigwe's response to these very question. Mr. Ben, like the question I've raised, do we need, these for the social media space, for Nigerians especially, young ones, users of the space? Mr. Ben, can you hear me? Okay. Unmute yourself, please, Mr. Ben.
Thank you so much, Moji. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. So, thank you and congratulations for this for hosting this event. I would like to also lean on what Dr. Yele said earlier and what Madam Titi also emphasized. We need regulations, in the social media space, because, like she said, there are restrictions of what you can do physically, and social media being a virtual place, we also need to govern that place to also protect people, to protect the mental health and the safety of other individuals. So with what is going on in the cyberspace today, you will see that just like Madam Titi mentioned earlier, the issue of fake display of affluence, people will take pictures of what doesn't belong to them at a very young age, and they try to display it, and that might, without words, and somebody will look at those things and feel, oh, my mates are already achieving this, and it prompts them to go and do some dubious things in order to get to that level also. Apart from that also, the issue of cyberbullying, the issue of a lot of fraud that is going on even on the social media. So we need to actually tighten the space there by putting in some regulations. And I believe this is not only going to fall back to the government alone. So this also has to, some of those platforms will also bear some, the responsibility. So if we are like the likes of Facebook, if Facebook can allow cyberbullying with the invention of AI, they can as well integrate AI into their system to checkmate for such events. So if somebody is being called all sorts of names or using they are using abusive words in the comment, the AI will detect it and block it. So that will be their own kind of control. And also for other platforms, they will also have to do more to implement such control. If we are going the way we are going and things are not retort, we are going to find ourselves in a serious mess in the next few years. Right now, you will notice that many people care about the content they are getting and not about human life. Somebody an accident might happen on the way and somebody is dying or somebody is sinking. You see people pulling out their phone to video what is going on. And they are videoing in order to enrich their social media platform. And not people don't care about the quality of life around them. People don't care about the people sitting close to them. People around. Hello? Okay, so
I said empathy has reduced.
Exactly, the empathy has reduced drastically, and we need to do something, because if we keep going this way, down the line, we will be neighbors. It will be living. You can live with 20 neighbors and you find out that you are all alone. Everybody will be focused on their own digital space. So a lot of things needs to be done. A lot of control needs to come in order to checkmate this factor, so that we can have a more safer internet. And that's what we're discussing here today. So that the cyberspace will be will be more accommodating for everyone, so that it doesn't derail. We don't just move from the way we are going and to a place we start asking ourselves, how do we get here? So we actually need those regulations in place to achieve this.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ben, for that input. We are going now to, hello, Mr. Jide, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? I can hear you.
Oh, okay, great. Mr. Jide, we would like to hear your stance. Yes.
Yeah. Good morning, and thank you for this opportunity. I want to agree with all the previous speakers on the need for what essentially we are addressing, which is social media governance. It has many facets, and I like the part that this aspect of the need that we need to address the fact that a lot of unverified information, a lot of misinformation is spread. I was somewhere yesterday, and it has to do with some of the security situation in Nigeria, and that security information has been corrected, but the initial information that came out was wrong. I don't want to inflame any security issues here, so I don't want to give you the full details. But what I try to point out is that the initial one that was wrong, that was spread just out of this desire to create content and make it go viral, was wrong. But that initial one is what somebody was arguing with me about yesterday. He has not seen the correction, and it's creating a lot of harm because there are so many issues like that. People will just come up with something and without even investigating, without knowing if the veracity of what the information they got, and they start spreading it. And unfortunately, some people believe it and even run with it, like what happened yesterday. And I know that what happened with that person I was discussing with yesterday, it's not an isolated incident. It happens because there is no control. So that's where I agree that yes, there is a need for regulation of social media. From the social media giants themselves, the companies themselves. I think most of us are aware, and if you are not aware, of the recent hearing in the U.S. House, where all the social media giants that we are called there, and the Facebook CEO founder had to apologize to parents, to families of children that have been affected uh, by social media through online bullying and different types of things. Even some of them even committed suicide and things like that. The critical issue is that even after that, has any measure been taken on these social media companies? You see, there's an issue that we should look at, which is that the fact that these companies are so powerful, they are generating so much money, and because of that, there is a way in which government is treating them with kid gloves. You understand? What they are doing, there is a need for more regulation, definitely. I will not support absolute regulation. I believe that, and I would not support, clamping down on people's ability to express themselves. But there has to be balance, and there must be accountability from the social media giants as well, from social media platforms as well. And that's why I will support a way in which there could be regulation in which other stakeholders could contribute to this regulation, and not just the social media companies themselves. So there's a lot of harm they are creating, and there are many issues that have to do with online safety. What the madam talked about is this attention seeking. There's a lot of people want to use social media to gain attention, to go viral at any cost. And the fear, it's called FOMO, the fear of missing out. Everybody wants to be involved. Everybody wants to say that I'm creating content. Everybody, because there are no controls, like Yeli said, that in the journalists that you used to have in the journalists, everybody can create content now. You understand? So there is really a need for regulation to come in, but it must be balanced so that you don't take away people's freedoms and you also encourage innovation at the same time. And we should not be afraid. I think governments generally all over the world are a bit scared of these social media giants. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jide Awe, on your insights with respect to that. But before we go ahead with hearing Lawyer Ife's opinion on Mr. Ayo's opinion on this, I would like to recognize some personalities that have joined us in the house. I would like to recognize Mr. Patrick Nana. I'm very bad with pronunciation of words, so I don't know. Mr. Patrick Nana from Enugu State Government. We can see the effect and impacts and steps Enugu State Government is taking in order to them. So, Mr. Patrick, welcome to this program. I would also like to recognize Lola Omo Jola, the executive member of the Nigerian Computer Society, Lagos State chapter. Thank you, madam, for joining us. Also, we have Dr. Bayo Khan. They are partnering with the DigiVation network this morning. Thank you for sharing your platform with us. Let's continue with this. Mr. Jide Awe mentioned human rights, efforts, by some organization. Laws needs to be put in place. Dr. Yele also has mentioned some salient points on human rights. Lawyer Ife, I would like to hear your opinion on this, because I know why the law is trying to take its course on some of the systems to work in the country, trying to balance that, not to infringe on human rights. So what is your opinion on this question? Should it be more enforced? Madam, I'm sorry, Lawyer Ife.
Well, Geneva, this is your Lawyer Ife. Good morning. So thank you for the opportunity to join in the conversation. Okay, so I totally appreciate the... Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
We can hear you, Ife.
Oh, thank you, sir. Okay, so I said thank you, Moji. Thank you for having me. And I think we can do with just Ife. The lawyer, I don't think it's very necessary. Thank you. Okay, so I have listened to the earlier speakers, and I totally agree with what they said, to the extent that the social media is actually troubling, and there is actually need for a balance between what the law has provided. Because I heard Dr. Okeremi, I hope I pronounced it well, Dr. Yele. So Dr. Yele pointed out the fact that there is need for a balance, because we're aware that the law guarantees freedom of expression. And Mr. Jide will also alluded to the fact of need for a balance. Yes, and for me, I don't think that we don't have a reasonable level of balance already. Why? Because the primary regulation or act, the primary law on cybersecurity, which of course houses cybercrime, which is what we're addressing, has actually provided for certain activities that have been criminalized. And anybody who is caught contravening this act is liable for offenses. And while all the things that have been mentioned, I would particularly touch Madam Titi Adewusi's example of people coming online to decry whatever perceived or actual wrong that services and product providers have committed, without first going to these people. I understand that part, but for things like that, I would think that those are things that contracts can take care of. And what I mean by that is for service providers and product sellers, though that will be a very difficult one, given that the market is quite huge and large. But contractually, providers can, as much as they can, as much as is possible, try to manage situations through contracts. But down to issues of impersonation, issues of defamation, issues of bullying, stalking. The Cybercrime Act has actually provided for those offenses. And I think that the responsibility now is on the Nigerian people, the citizens. Do they know
Okay, I think there's a next. Oh, okay. While I think the network is off there, um, Mr. Ayo, can you hear me wave?
Can you hear me?
I think
I
network
can hear you.
is down
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
there.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear
Okay,
you.
hello, Mr. Ayo, can you hear me wave? Okay, very good.
Yes, I can hear
Oh,
you. I've
okay.
been waving.
Oh, okay. Mr. Ayo, while if he's trying to sort the network on our side, can we have your response to this very question?
That's on the internet safety. Well, for me, good morning, everyone, first of
Do
all,
we
and
need to
good afternoon.
regulate social media and cyberspace to protect users of internet technology, especially in Nigeria?
Well, first of all, the internet is a global space. So it's not just a Nigerian thing. It's a global thing. As in, if we are going to address it, we are going to address it in terms of a worldwide phenomenon. Why? Even if you try and regulate it here, there are other means of accessing internet and social media, which people will start to explore. So, well, yes, but regulation is necessary because just like driving a car, if there are no brakes, there will be accidents. So regulation is very essential, especially when we now look at international differences. But while we are trying to regulate, what I think we should do as individuals in Nigeria is that we need to step up in the place of culture. As parents, as neighbors, as people that are here, we are downplaying the issues of culture and information dissemination, where the people should be able to, like I used to tell my kids,
Culture.
the internet is like the cartoon, where it's not everything you see that is real. And like a program they used to show on DSTV, then I think Cartoon Network, they tell you it's not everything you see here that is real because anything on this channel can happen. So I tell my kids that, and I feel it's time we also, explore that and tell people, look, it's not everything you see online that is real. It's not everything you post online. You should learn to separate what you post from, what you should post from what is posted. And then you should also separate information you get, as in try and look at how logical or how true can this be. We should start encouraging a culture of verification. People should be able to go and verify every information they get, not just believe everything. Because if we keep saying regulation, 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 what about the people that are being regulated? They will still be looking for ways of disobeying. But if you now create a culture where they know, yes, it's not everything here that is correct, and then regulation comes in to fill the gap, where, for example, because we are human beings, there are people that it's just who they are. They would always look for how to post negative or untrue or incorrect or violating information. So when they do now do that, then regulation will come and put them in check. But if we are just regulating, then what are we regulating? So that is how I feel we should address it from the human angle, which is, for example, first of all, let's create a culture of verification. Let's create a culture of letting people know it's not everything that is real that you see online. It's not every information. Then also a culture where learn to know separate what you are posting from what you are reading, as in the information, the nature of the information. This thing, Miss Alabi is now the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But you now say, wow, well, I saw her yesterday now. She was presenting at a program. So you now start learning to separate such information. Not just, oh, she's not the president, and then you repost and you repost. We need to start learning to critically think through information we get, so that it's not everybody that, it's not every information we take in. And then we need to also critically think through information we are posting. Is this a private information? Is this public information? Because right now, what is happening, especially in Nigeria that I know of, a lot of people, they post everything. They don't separate private from public information. They just post. And of course, some do it to get followings and likes. But at the end of the day, that is where I'm going to the challenge. So why are some people going for followership and likes? Some of them are doing it for the money, yes. But some, there are actually more lonely people out there now in Nigeria than we used to have before. So we need to start addressing it. Nigeria uniquely is a social society where I don't see you, my neighbor, for 3 days. I go and knock on your door. Where are you? How are you? I hope everything is okay. So it's not our culture like Europe, where it's not important if I don't see you, my neighbor, for the next 10 years. I shall know I have a neighbor. We need to start encouraging those cultural practices so that we minimize these social media violations and wrong information that is going out before we start talking of regulating it. Because when we start, we have a beautiful culture, especially the social nature of it, even though we have a problem with it. That is, I have poking neighbors, I have, as we call it, apropos people all around me. But at the end of the day, you appreciate it when you are not in Nigeria. So it is so important we start addressing that as an issue and start encouraging people. Because when we do that, it minimizes the issues of violation. And then that's when we cannot, like I said, you can never drive a car without having brakes. So we now bring in the regulations as brakes for the for the car we are driving, which in this case is online media. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ayo. Thank you. Ify, have you sorted your sound there? Because you were freezing a bit before. Can you wave? Okay. Okay. Ify is, because we must hear what she has to say, because they are the ones that can say, go there or come back. Uh-oh.
I think her network is still acting up.
Oh my. Okay. If he's sorry, I'm having issues connecting to you. But before I'm still coming back to you. If he's so sorry, I'm still coming back to you. But we'll get back to you and hear your opinion on that. But I would like to go to Professor Engineer Ajia. Prof, are you still here with us?
Sure, I'm still with you. I'm still with you, sure.
Oh, okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your patience.
Hmm.
Prof, before we go ahead with Ife, let me ask you this. As a capacity building institution, how equipped do you think we are to foster the needed policies and harness the potentials within the cyberspace for the benefit of Nigeria?
Again, thank you very much, Moji, and all other participants. It has been nice discussing this important, crucial issue. I believe, Nigerians are specially gifted people, and we adapt quickly, to whatever global phenomenon that has arrived. Um, like rightly said, the Little Bridge Institute where I worked, it's a capacity building institute, and capacity building, particularly in the ICT space. Um, we are, like I said earlier, Nigerians are talented. We have all that it requires, to to make sure that we participate globally, in the ICT spectra, particularly in the cyberspace. If you go overseas, if you go to the multinationals, you go to the big players, you'll always find a lot of Nigerians working for the big tech companies, and you find a lot of Nigerians, are participating, uh, establishing and running, tech companies. So we have all it takes. Unfortunately or fortunately for us, we are a country of over 220 million people, which is an advantage that we can use and create, for ourselves, an economy that is digitally based, using, the internet, and make people to become more prosperous, and also, use the internet, like all the speaker says. This is a global phenomena. The internet, if you use it properly, you can connect to everybody around the globe, not only necessarily in Nigeria. So if you're able to create, a brand, you can sell it all over the world, and you make so much of the needed foreign exchange for our dear country and yourself. And I believed, we have the technical know-how, the talents, and we are creative people by nature. And I believe a lot of people are creative, critical thinkers. We only need to give people the opportunity, put them, along the line. And that is why I believed, the present government came up under the leadership of, President Bola Tinubu and our minister, Honorable Minister of Communications, Innovation, and Digital Economy, Dr. Boshun Tijani, with this program of 3MTT, 3 million, talent, that the people be given special training, and then the world can harness all those talents, and we can export, the talents and make money for Nigeria. This, I believe, is very easy, and this, I believe, the government will achieve, and surely people will adapt, and I believe we have the necessary things to make things happen and change, the narratives, and make sure, yes, we participate fully in the global digital economy. Like I said, we have all it takes. For example, the Digital Bridge Institute is one of those only 14 institutes globally recognized by the International Telecommunication Union, which is, the arm of the United Nations that is regulating telecommunications and ICT around the globe. And the Digital Bridge Institute happens to be one of, like I said earlier, 14 global institute academy of the ITU, and the only one in Nigeria, only four in Africa actually. So we have the facilities, to make sure we impacted knowledge and make people to learn, to scale, to upscale, and become players in this very exciting, phenomenon, the ICT and the global internet. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof, for your response to that. Like you said, there are so many talents, and Nigeria is filled with that because more than 65% of Nigeria's population are youths. Well, it depends on youth, the age bracket, because if you are 65, you are still a youth in Nigeria. So at 65, you are still a youth. But then again, we are at the age where age does not matter anymore. The possibilities are still there and you can still do more. Thank you very much, Prof, for your for your response on that. I would like to go to Dr. Yele Okeremi. Sir, thank you so much for your time and still being with us. My question to you is this: as an entrepreneur in the Nigerian technology ecosystem, do you think the Nigerian business environment will ever be ready for what the youth have to offer in the future?
I think that's an easy question to answer. I would rather say that the way I will frame it is that the country has no choice but to turn back to the basics and depend on what it has. Look, the bottom line is that when we look at the economies of the world, we talk about what we call comparative advantages. And what comparative advantage talks about, the theory is that every organization or every nation would use its own strength or will fight to its own strength. That's what it means. And so if you took a look at our society, our country, Nigeria, it's crystal clear what are the advantages comparatively that we have. So one of them is what you said, the youth. And when we talk about the youth, it's unfortunate, however, that we have to talk about the relevant youth actually, because the relevant youth are those that are capable of creating economic activities that add up positively to the gross national product or the gross domestic product as it may be. The other things that you look at in terms of comparative advantages as a country is natural resources that we have, blessed with pretty much all sorts. By World Bank indices, I think Nigeria, by primary indices, this is World Bank data, Nigeria is rated either the second or the third richest nation in the world by primary indices. And what that means is purely in terms of mineral resources and the likes. And then perhaps another thing you want to talk about is the vastness of the country in terms of, the size, the land, and the fact that we don't have natural disasters. And there are other natural advantages that Nigeria does have when we talk about comparative advantages. And I'm going to now begin to come home to technology. I mean, there's a question that a number of us who are in the technology space as entrepreneurs or as players have asked for several years. How did we do it that we allowed India to take over so much of this from us? India became outsourcing capital. India became technology capital. Whereas, if you take a very good look at it, Nigeria should have had it. We have English as our natural language. Our English is very good. The educational system supports it from birth almost till death. If you take a look at where we are located on the map, longitude and latitude, longitude zero. So the time is right either to provide services to Africa, to Asia, to America. So we have all this as natural advantages. What is missing is harnessing a value system that ensures that a fair input gives you a fair output. What's been going on so far, why Nigeria is where it is that we have a situation where you really don't have to do much. If you know how to game the system, money is coming out of the ground. So all you really need to do is have certain kind of connections without producing anything. A lot of money is coming to you. And I said this somewhere only on Sunday that I think the tragedy of poverty is not the lack of money in Nigeria. I think the tragedy of poverty is the abundance of money in the hands of people who are unproductive. And the chicken is already coming to roost today. The party's over. If this country is going to go forward, we've got to come back to basics. We've got to come back to the point where we have to compensate people that produce adequately for what they produce. And that's going to come to specialized knowledge. If you take a look at the new order of the world today, gone are the days of the Rockefellers, when they made a lot of money from the extractive industry, oil and gas. Well, the richest nations in the world today are not oil and gas. They are not even natural resource nations. They are knowledge resource nations. The richest people in the world today are not magnates. They are not oil magnates. They are tech magnates. They are knowledge magnates. And I have asked myself, if you take a poll of Nigerians have gone to the best schools in the world. And when they go to those best schools in the world, they still excel in those best schools in the world. So it tells us that we are not bereft of capacity intellectually. What we haven't been able to do is have a value system that galvanizes us together to be able to effectively produce value. But like I said, right now the chicken has come to roost, and I will say without any fear of equivocation that Nigeria will have no choice but to look inwards at the youth and ensure that the youth are appropriately guided, appropriately directed, and appropriately stimulated to become productive. Anything short of that is going to lead to a very serious, God forbid, anarchy and chaos. But I think the way it is, if we have the right thinking leaders, it's only a matter of time we begin to see hope. And I want to say that Nigeria will have absolutely no choice but to use its youth in the appropriate direction. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yele, for your response to that question. And the salient points you raised is just we need to go back to the basics. And the youths are one of the strengths Nigeria has. But with this strength, how appropriately are they being used or empowered? Thank you very much, Dr. Yele, for that response and insight. Titi Adewusi of Niger Kids, I have a question for you, ma. Children and young adults need more protection online. Do you think guardians and educators are playing enough roles appropriately?
Okay, thank you for that question. Well, are they playing the role they should all be? Not yet. That's the word I would use. And then if you've listened to all the, the various speakers, one of the things that is important is sometimes instead of trying to do all the fighting, it's really to build the right foundation. So one of the things that I would say is that it's important that from an early stage, we are through all ramifications trying to educate the children. And I think it was one of the earlier speakers that said that even when you talk about our culture, is that when we grew up with a culture of checking up on one another. Even back then there were vices that our parents warned us of. I remember when I was very young, my mom would say, if you see someone following you, then turn this street, turn that. So that education, even to today, I follow it. I'm usually very vigilant because of the education I got back at home. So I think for me, one of the things I would say is that it's something that we need to have in every spare, and it starts from home. And it's never too late, and it's never too early. We need to start with, educating parents about starting very early to educate their children about the digital space and things that they need to do, because it's a two-way street. Someone that is bullying, and the person that is bullied, they're both children, in a sense. So the parent of that bully also needs to start by educating their children not to be bullies. And also the person that the child is being bullied also needs to educate their child on not being a victim. So I think it's important that we are educating people about the digital space. And it's never too early to start. I remember when my kids were much younger, and I was telling them, about something as simple as porn. They were like, "What's that?" When I explained to them, they're like, "Oh, mommy, I've seen that before." I was like, "What? Where did you see that?" "Oh, on someone else's phone or someone else's device." But the fact that you're able to educate them on it early means that they are now more aware of what it is. So I think for me, it's something that needs to be in schools, but even with parents. Is it being done in schools right now? It's not, and I think it's one of the things that we need to start. We need to start, as early as nursery school, as early as primary school. Courses that people take should be part of it. I know that a lot of things that we are doing, people are still, common entrance, JAM is still looking at maths, English, and science. But if we really want to get to that level, then digital skills has to be something that we are testing and checking on very early. That's what I would say. It's something that in our churches, in our mosque, everywhere it's being talked about, so that it's something that is really part of us in terms of cybersecurity, in terms of protecting your children online from cyberbullying. It has to be something that we are doing in every aspect. Parents, there's no school that parents go to learn how to be parents, but I'm saying it's something that every touch point where parents are, that they're educated on how to do it in their offices as well. So we must not rely on government alone. I think every area, even we, if you're doing in your office and you're doing talks and webinars, as long as you have parents and people in your offices, I think you should actually be able to do a lot of that in terms of educating them on the cyberspace. I know that if you go to a typical oil company, for instance, because incidents was something that was very key. You find out you can't have a meeting in an oil company that it won't start off with saying, "Or someone should give us something on safety." They will tell you what are the safety exits. It was such a conscious thing that is in everything that they do. I think that's the same way we need to get to, where you can't go anywhere. They want to start a meeting and they'll say, "Oh, someone, can you give us some safety thing in terms of the digital space or some safety advice?" Just the same way we go to meetings and they started with the Nigerian anthem, and they started with prayer. I think it's something that we need to so imbibe every aspect. So offices are also doing things for their staff to be more conscious aware. There's been a lot of cyber attacks in organizations, data breaches, and most of those things come from staff opening documents that they shouldn't open or opening attachments they shouldn't open. So it's that education that needs to be so ingrained in every aspect. So even you in your organizations, I have to throw it back to everyone that is here and say, how do you also ingrain your organization whereby you're frequently asking people, frequently educating them, frequently enlightening them, about the digital space. And imagine if we all do this as a collective effort. This regulation thing will now be not the main thing, because we've created such an awareness. Even before you're in a WhatsApp group and people put something that's not being verified, everybody will say, "Hey, have you verified this thing?" Because it's something that we've made part of us. And I think that for us is really the way to go. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Titi, for your response. But I have one more question for you. But before we go to that, I would like to recognize Pretty Mandy Comedy for being part of the show, of the gathering. I also want to recognize Phil Harris. I hope I'm correct. And also Mr. Mr. Adeshino Adewale, a fellow of Nigeria and the convener of Schools Computer Club Initiative. Thank you so much, sir, for your time and for being part of the gathering. I'll get back to you on a particular question. It's on post-primary school examination. With this post-primary school examination now going computer-based test approach, do you think these young ones are getting too exposed to online vulnerability? And what should the government put in place?
I'm not sure. Is that question for me?
Yes, it's for you.
Okay.
We'll come back to you.
But what I will always say is, let's not throw away the baby with the bathwater. When people talk sometimes about exposure, I always start with the positive aspect of that exposure. For instance, I have an edtech company, and I can tell you that, 3/4 of the developers in my company did not learn it in school. They learned it out of school. They learned it, online using the internet. They learned it attending boot camps. There are a lot of things that you and I have come to know, that we learned online. So it means that, there's the part to it. And as with everything, there's a good part to knowledge, and I'll always want to start that way, so that when people are trying to restrict, remember that there's a good part to it. There's a good part to, using AI in terms of how it helps you with your productivity. There's also the bad part to it, where people can then use, other people's information without recognizing them. And I always say that this has already existed in the world. It's just that, technology has amplified it. In those days, when you were doing your project, your project supervisor required that you reference all the places that you got the as if they were your original content. Those are just examples. For me, what I would always say is that it's the positive side. So let's focus on the positive side first, and then say, how do we, provide the relevant structures that would ensure we manage this thing. So it's like food. Food is good, but too much of anything, even too much of drinking water that is good, has its adverse effect. Multivitamins are good, but even taking too much of it has its effect. But do you need it? Yes, you do. So it's the fact that when we're using those things, what are the checks and balances? If you take Panadol, it will tell you take only 2, don't take more than this amount within a particular day. So those are the how will I say, the guidelines to which they're using it. So for me, are these things good? The exposure is good and is important, and I think we should promote it. But we promote it with the guidelines, in which to use them. And that for me is really what's important. I will always promote, exposing them, as within the guidelines, which is what's important. So when they say that your child is too, they'll recommend not exposing them to too much content online till they form their speech, because you want them to experience things in the world. Those are the guidelines. But can you find good content? Can you find good educational content for them? Yes, you can. So for me, it's that it is good, but let's provide the parameters in which it should be used. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Titi Adewusi of Niger Kids. You done. A good thing is too much. It's not good if it's too much. Internet technology is a positive one, is a good one, we all know, but not being able to handle this evolution it has taken a toll on how the progress is. But let's move down to the safety part of it. So the cybersecurity people in the house, Mr. Ayo Heakiome, I hope I'm correct, and Mr. Ben Lodigwe. You said?
I said it's a Mahiome. Emahiome. Can you hear me?
Emahiome.
Okay, yes. All right.
I will pay the
Cyber
fine. Yes, I
security.
will pay the fine.
Okay,
I
cyber
will pay the
security
fine. So,
for
Mr. Ayo and
primary.
Mr. Ben,
Yes, cyber security for primary schools, right?
okay. Mr. Ayo and Mr. Ben, I'm coming to the two of you now because we are going to cybersecurity end of things. Mr. Ben, I'm curious, to what extent, as a cybersecurity expert, do you think measures awareness and security is available for users of the internet technology?
Okay, thank you so much, Moji. In terms of the availability of awareness, is just like saying I had too much air to breathe. You know, no awareness is too much. Currently in Nigeria, I don't even think the awareness is that adequate. So right now, we actually need to strengthen the cybersecurity posture of the nation by engaging in more awareness. You know, we need to break it down even to the layman, even to a bricklayer, even to the bus conductor, to understand the vulnerabilities out there, to understand how we can remediate or how we can avoid such security incidences. So, like you said, awareness is the key. Just like Madam Titi mentioned about safety, you cannot talk about awareness. Awareness is more of you are bringing it down to every individual. You're taking it to the organization. You're taking it to the person in the street. So we need to engage in more awareness to somehow reduce the attack surface. So a lot of people don't know how these acts are perpetrated. They don't know the medium these attacks come from. Like, for instance, the normal phishing mail we get on our mail on daily basis. I believe each and every one of us, if you check your Gmail, or you see one of those, or is it the SMS phishing we get on daily basis, or is it the calls? So we need to invest so much on awareness. I want to use this medium to call on organizations. We as in-laws, we've embodied ourselves with this. We've been doing awareness, and even this year we plan on getting more awareness to the community to also enhance. So let it be our contribution to enrich people with knowledge of the cybersecurity threats that are there. The truth is that with the invention of artificial intelligence, we are going to see a very large scale coming into play, in as much as we also see a large scale protection also. But it still boils down to the individuals. Right now, before, attack surface has always been targeted to the corporate infrastructures, but now, since COVID, it's much easier for you to breach an individual. It's much easier for you to compromise an individual, and with that individual, you get across to many. You can even bring the entire organization down through phishing mail, through malware attacks, through there's a lot of means that is endless. So the best way to go about this is also through sensitization. So make awareness sessions. Each organization need to conduct awareness for their users, conduct awareness for their staff. The government parastatals need to do the awareness. Individuals like DigiVation also need to also do a public awareness of cybersecurity, and I think that's the only way forward for us to fully educate everyone and bring down the attack surface. Also, we can choose to go the route of technology and infrastructure investment, but if the awareness is not there, then all the investment done will also be inadequate. So I think educating people about the effects of the cybersecurity threats that are out there, the best practices to take, doing having workshops and education program, that will go a long way to reach the communities. So imagine if every organization should reach the communities immediate in their environment. Before you know what is happening, everybody will also be educated. Just like what we are talking about when we're talking about the regulation. If we start with the training and we start making people aware of what it entails, what is cyberbullying, because some people might even engage in such event without even knowing what they are doing. They feel that they are catching crews online. They are happy. They are super posters online, or whatever they do, they get away with it. No, but by the time we do that awareness, people can actually understand the harm they are causing to other people. The same way you perceive, you take data is not the same way another person takes data. Some people read data with emotions attached to them. So we need to also make this, create that awareness around that area. And you see that most of these things in Nigeria will create a positive environment for our cyberspace. And also, just like one of the speakers mentioned earlier, we need to create the awareness of you being able to, understand what people around you are doing. You cannot tell me that there's a young man living close to you, or that this young man, he doesn't go to work, he doesn't have any source of income, and yet he's living a flamboyant lifestyle, and nothing is done because of the kind of environment you find ourselves in. Nobody wants to be, in quotes, a snitch. So, but when we start taking this in deliberately, when parents engage in the lifestyle of their children, your child comes home with something that they're not supposed to have, a big phone that that you can't even afford for them to have. You need to also take a deliberate step to look at what that child is doing and caution that child. Most parents, when they are children, like from my own experience, when you ask them what is your child doing, they will tell you, oh, my child is into forest trading. They don't even know what forest trading is about. So, but with this awareness, by the time we build enough awareness, people can actually understand that when somebody is saying something, I'm clearing accounts or I'm doing this, we will know that the person is actually referring that they are into a shady business, and that awareness will expose people. It will also reduce the kind of fraudulent activities we have in the country. So by the time somebody is calling you to tell you that, there's a meeting in WhatsApp and I want to reset your OTP, and you give me the OTP and I'll register you for the meeting, they will already know that, this person wants to get access to my WhatsApp and use it to solicit for funds. So awareness is just the key. We can also do a lot of public-private partnership to create this awareness, and also solicit for international collaborations like the likes of Google, Facebook. We can reach out to all these international bodies to also help us in campaign against this cybersecurity threats in the country.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ben, for your response to that question. Mr. Ayo,
Yes,
I hope you are still with us.
I am with you very much.
Oh, okay. So, Mr. Ayo, what is your take on this question?
Well, first of all, cyber security awareness in Nigeria, number one, is not enough, and number two, I don't think it can be enough. Reason is, before now, we used to see or hear the issue of cybersecurity like what we see in movies and on TV. But with the evolution of COVID and the fact that it brought a lot more people online, the incidences of cybersecurity breaches increased. And so people get emails, people get phishing mails, people get funny emails to defraud them, people get SMS, and even on social media now, they are there waiting for you. And in that light, cybersecurity awareness is not enough. We need to increase the awareness, especially amongst our people, so that they know all the various models and methods and systems that these people are coming up with. And the beauty of this thing is this: COVID comes, that's COVID-19, more people are online, and then more use of the internet. That happens, the internet use and evolves, where now we have the evolution of AI. And as AI has come, the way we do business online is changing. The way we carry out our activities online is changing. And then the interesting part, human nature is changing. And as all these are happening, cybersecurity models are changing. Why? So that it moves in line with human nature changing, and even businesses, the way people do businesses are changing. Is this going to change anytime soon? I mean, is it going to stop anytime soon? No. In fact, the rate of evolution is going to be on the increase with the introduction of AI. And then with the fact that we are now carrying out more activities on the metaverse and on online platforms, like our meetings, like what we are having now. So as we can have more of meetings like this, cybersecurity threats will be on the increase. And as it's on the increase, then that means the level of awareness has to be doubled or tripled, or because we are supposed to be a step ahead. If we are not a step ahead, then the um, the people that are taking advantage of the cybersecurity breaches would always be a step ahead. But we are the ones, we are the victims that will suffer, which is why, like at Coinbox Limited, we have our Cyber Fusion project, which is for creating awareness to everybody around on a sector by sector basis for both individuals and groups, to let them know this is what cybersecurity is, and this is why it's so important to know more about it. And then these are all the available future technologies like metaverse, like AI, like even the cybersecurity itself, and why it's important to you. We are doing our own small bit, and we expect everybody, like on this platform too, to add to the information basket to get more people more aware of the importance and the need for cybersecurity. Gone are those days that it's for that company or it's for that system. No, it is now for everybody. Like they say, security is everybody's business. Same thing with cybersecurity. Sorry, safety, yes, security is everybody's business. Same thing with cybersecurity. It is now everybody's business. It is not just for the CTO or the chief security officer, anything, everybody's business. So, will the awareness be ever enough? No. Just as safety
Sir.
awareness is never enough,
Um,
this is why we are reminding ourselves the same thing. It will never be enough, but we have to keep at it. Thank you.
okay.
You are trying to say something, Topper?
Okay, sorry, I thought you were done because it was freezing. But thank you very much for that response to this question. But briefly and in summary, my second question to you and Mr. Ben is, how do you think the high rise in cybercrime will hinder the pace of digitalization in Nigeria? Briefly.
The high rise in cybercrime will hinder the pace of digitized. I'm sorry, it was shaking. Will hinder the pace of digitalization, right? Tokwe? Hello? Can you hear me? Hello?
We can hear you, Mr.
Okay.
Ayo. We
I
can
was
hear
trying
you.
to get her question clearly. I was trying to get her question clearly, but if I understand well, you are saying that how would the rise in cybercrime hinder the pace of digital development? Well, it's a two-pronged question.
Okay, as how do you think the high rise in cyber crimes will hinder the pace of digitalization in Nigeria? Briefly, your response.
Oh, okay. In a summary model, the issue is that human nature is such that they move from a place of pain to a place of pleasure. It is just natural because that's how we are built. Anything giving you pain, you move away from it And then anything giving you pleasure, you move closer to it. Cybercrime is a thing of pain. Why? You lose something, you lose money, you lose your software, you lose your data, you lose your documents. Some people even lose their lives. And so that's painful because there's a loss. And based on that, a lot of people, like we already have that do now in Nigeria, they move offline. They were online, but they now move offline. They don't stay. And so that hinders the progress of digitalization. Okay. And then, of course, even the cyber crime perpetrators, they would have taken hold of your important data, destroyed it, or you lose it. And so your digital transformation process or your digital data, you've lost it and you have to start all over again. And then people will now be naturally anti anything digital. So those are the things that will make it, hinder the progress of digitalization. Also, the fact that the cybercrime people don't want you to know about their antics and the way they go about their things, so that when they come for you, you will not be ready for them. So if we need to move forward in our digitalization process, then automatically, one, we need to improve the level and increase the level of awareness of cybercrime and digitalization. Number three, we need to encourage more people to come online. Like Bill Gates said not too long ago, that if your business is not online, your business is on the way to dying. So that's the truth. But there are so many businesses in Nigeria that are not online. Some, you can't really blame them. It's probably due to their location. So because we don't have full coverage yet of like internet access. And so due to their location, they are not there yet. They are not online. They are still in the dark. We need to increase the level of digital infrastructure, the internet infrastructure, to ensure that more people are online and then more businesses are online. But while we are doing that, we now need to set up the infrastructure in such a way that it's like a 5 and 6. Once we are creating online access, everybody should be made aware of the cyber security measures that needs to be taken so that people are protected. So once that is going on and we are increasing the awareness, one, we will now be increasing the level of digitalization, and then cybercrime will not be able to succeed in minimizing or reducing or cutting off the progress of digitalization. Because as we can see, even government is going online now, so everybody needs to follow suit. Digitalization cannot be stopped. It's like a tsunami moving. What we have to do is prepare for it and ensure it does not sweep us away. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Ben, I just want to hear your response briefly to the question. How do you think the high rise in cyber crimes will hinder the pace of digitization in Nigeria?
Okay, thank you, Moji.
Briefly, please.
Just as Mr. already said, if things are not done, the way we are going, you see people kicking against technology in terms of, the new, let's say, the new kind of banking technology that are rolling out, maybe social media banking, all these things. Because when you feel that you're not even safe online, when you feel that the people can, get access to whatever you have and take out all your savings just in a flash, and you see people trying to kick against it. They will have that resistance to engage in online activities. So like Mr. Ayo rightly said, we need to put this in place to ensure that people also see that in as much as one out of 100 gets compromised, that other people with the right measures they are safe online. So with the role of enhancing the awareness in Nigeria, you see that come to play, that the people will be more trustworthy to have their businesses online. People will be more, they will accept having easier financial transactions online. But if not done, and the way we are going, things are still the way we are going, and you will find out resistance to digitization. Let me use that word, digitization. You see resistance to digitization. Yeah, you see companies right now, and a lot of companies are transitioning to paperless environments. They are trying to ensure that they don't do anything on paper. They are building automation platforms. They are enhancing in electronic document management system to ensure that we can work from anywhere. And the technology is also available to make that possible. Since COVID, you see people adopting those technology. But imagine when people go online thinking that, we've made things easier for ourselves. Our staff can work from any location. We can do our transactions safely from any location, and they don't find out to be the case. You see them reverting their position. So also, for us to enhance digitization in the country, we need to make our cyberspace very safe for businesses to operate by putting down, and reviewing our security laws, our cybersecurity laws and policies to enhance those protections that are there for the organizations. And also, like I said, awareness. The more awareness we do, the lesser the attack surface. The attackers are no longer looking for infrastructure to break. They are looking for weak links. They are looking for easy targets, the common man. So because they know that once they get through you, they can get through many. So for us to grow in digitization, we need to tackle the cyber challenges we have in Nigeria. So for our question that how can cybersecurity stop digitization, if things are not done, if we don't enhance the awareness of cyber threats in the country, you see us going back. But if we do the right checks and balances in place, then you see the country digitization booming. And this industry is a more fertile industry than the oil industry. So you see a lot of opportunities coming into the environment. You see a lot of growth. So we need to do a lot to enhance the cyber security space for the country.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ben, for your response on that. Ify, we want the law to come in, and I just want your response to that question a bit. So, Ify, I have a question for you. I know you've been at the backstage waiting for your response to be able to respond to some of this. Ify, can you hear me, please?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
You can? Okay, great.
Yes, I can.
My question to you is simply this. We are going to the law aspects now. Should there be more stringent approach to enforce a discipline of online offenders such as cyber bullies, cyber criminals, fraudsters, and others compared to the current situation at hand?
Okay, thank you. Before I address that, I just want to finish up what I started earlier, which was on whether more regulations will be required. I started by saying that, like every other speaker recognized, the social media has its benefits, and it's called the social media. One can also conveniently call it economic media because it serves a lot of positive purposes. But virtually all the speakers actually realize that there is a need for a balance. While there may be need for more regulations, I'm looking at it from legal perspective so that we don't create more trouble for lawyers. And what do I mean by that? We have laws, several laws that speak to some of the experiences some of us highlighted as the negative aspects of the social media. And the Cybercrime Act also has criminalized a reasonable range, of activities that if anybody should undertake them, that would amount to contravention of the act. Yeah, I'm not a cybersecurity expert, but if we are looking at that question purely from, what is considered offenses to people, real harm, loss, damage to the reputation of people, to their lives, to their psychology, and their emotion, I think that the law reasonably has provisions that would cover, such actions, and I would really expect that there will be a follow-up question to that. And reason is so that all of us listening will learn. Anybody who believes that there is need for more regulations, when I attend seminars like this or discussions, I like to know what they are exactly looking at. When they say that there is need for more laws, there is need for more regulations, I like to know specifics of what they have in mind, to be regulated. And what it does for me is to know, assuming I'm in a position to take any action after that event, what it does to me is to go back and look at the existing laws to know if the things that have been highlighted are already covered by the law. So that if they are not covered, then advocacy and move for more laws or move for policies, to operationalize existing laws will be more evidence-based. And I particularly like what Ayo, Mr. Emakome said. Sorry for murdering that name. I like what he said. He emphasized verification of information. He also emphasized culture, embracing the culture of verification and embracing our culture as Nigerians and as Africans. Because that is actually whatever law we have or we may want to make tomorrow in addition. If people don't get to verify information on social media, that definitely will be on them. If I decide today to post a picture on Facebook, captioning that picture, me living on a tree now, anybody who decides to believe me that I live on a tree, that's on them, right? But for actual offenses like stalking, actual offenses like bullying, actual offenses like defamation of character, actual offenses like pornography, child pornography, they're already covered by the law. But then I'm open to any new things that the extant laws haven't taken care of. Now, to your current question on penalties, definitely the laws we have, whether it's the Cybercrime Act or the Penal Code or the Criminal Code, because, and another reason I talked about having more regulations or having more laws is that in Nigeria, we kind of have several laws touching on the same thing. And when you look at Law A, say, for instance, cyberbullying, this is an instance, cyberbullying, maybe you see the Cybercrime Act providing 2 years penalty, jail term, and maybe 1,000 naira fine. You go to Penal Code, same offense. Penal Code will give you like 5 years jail term, 3,000 naira penalty. Maybe you go to the Criminal Code, it has another penalty, different penalty entirely. So that's the danger. And that was why I mentioned having more regulations by way of laws. It's important that we're careful, because I don't think we, as a people, as a nation, we've done a very good job when it comes to drafting and trying to harmonize a current law with existing laws. So for penalty, right? Some of these offenses created by the Cybercrime Act, we have picked some of them with fine, option of fine, and then jail term. When I look at the criticality of cybersecurity and cybercrime, I would imagine that for such offenses, because for each of the offenses, you realize that it goes to the well-being of the human being, or it goes to the security of the nation, or it goes to the peace of the nation, or it goes to the economic situation of the nation. So these are offenses that are quite huge and grave when committed. So I would imagine that such offenses, we would have limited room, limited window for fines. And we do more of jail terms because it will be easy for anybody to bring out any amount of money to pay and walk free and continue with what they are doing. But if there is a jail term for, if not all, but most of the offenses without an option of fine, it may serve more as a deterrent to people. And yes, to your question, I would rather that we have more of simply jail terms with minimal window for fines. It's against what the reality is, where almost every offense, that has been created has an option of fine. Yes, thank you. Hi, Moji. I don't know if you're there. Hello, Moji.
Yeah, I'm listening. I'm listening.
Did you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello?
I can. I can hear you.
Yes, I do.
Yes. So that's
Okay,
my take
great.
on
You
the
done?
offensive. But
Okay.
beyond punishment, all right? Beyond punishment, we cannot overemphasize the need for awareness creation, not just creating awareness that there is something called cybersecurity, not just creating awareness that there's something called cybercrime, but also going back to our root, our culture, like Ayo mentioned. Yes, not that there were no tests in the olden days, not that there were no character assassination in the olden days, but the more digitalized we get, the more we become one with the entire world, the more we see increase in the level of crimes in our society. So we have to go back to who we are, create more awareness about our culture of contentment, our culture of communal living, our culture of love and peace and unity. That would also help with reducing crime so that we speak less of punishments to be meted out to people. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, still going back to the point Dr. Lele raised of going back to the basics is not only for the education, we need to go back to the drawing board in essence. Thank you, Ify, for your response to that. Thank you so much, everyone, for your patience, for your time, and also for your insight on some of these issues and with respect to Nigeria technology ecosystem, the business environment, the security of organizations, the safety of young children, young adults, the youth, and also the capacity, development opportunities for every one of them. Lovely session. I don't want to leave, but time is almost up. My last question to everyone on the stage is this: what do you think needs to be done or to ensure a safer cyber ecosystem for Nigeria, for businesses in Nigeria, for children in the public sector? So I start with briefly just one word because we are rounding up now. Just one word, Titi, what do you think needs to be done to ensure children in Nigeria cyberspace? Your closing remarks on that.
More awareness, more awareness, more awareness.
Thank you very much. More awareness, more awareness, more awareness. I'm sorry, I will be going to Dr. Yele. Hello, Dr. Yele.
Yeah,
Okay, where is
yeah. I think
your
Titi has
last word
spoken well.
on or one word on what you think needs to be uh, businesses, organization, to
Yeah,
be
I'll just follow what
safe.
Titi said. There's need
Because
for
when there's an
awareness.
enabling environment, when business things will be good. Okay.
There's a need for awareness. There's a need for restraint
Okay.
by participants as well.
Okay.
You don't have to do just everything impulsively on social media. And of course, I think regulation is still something we must come to terms with. It must happen. If we combine these three things, we might begin to see some more sanity in the field.
More sanity is needed indeed. Mr. Jide Awe, I hope you're still with us.
Yes, I'm still with you. I'm still with you. Okay, one word, right? Essentially, I agree with most of the, what has been said, the awareness, culture. I just want to add that, especially for the children, we need to, as we emphasize digital literacy, we should emphasize that there should be critical thinking as well at that stage, so that it's not just the knowledge alone of
Indeed, very
cyber
important.
security, but cyber critical thinking as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Professor Ajia, are you still there, sir?
Yeah, sure, I'm still with you. Thank you very much. I would tend to agree with Dr. Le and Titi. We need to create a lot of more awareness, safety
Okay,
on
sir.
how we
Okay,
can
sir.
use.
Please, sir, can we have awareness?
Yeah, we need to create more awareness. We need to tell people what to do. We need to tell people, there's some safe things to do in the internet. For example, people should, as much as possible, use secured connections. People should use strong passwords, things like multi-level authentications, and things like that you can do to stay online, so that people will not steal your identity and so many things. So I agree with Titi and Dr. LA. We need to create more awareness. We need to do a lot in campaigning and making sure the populace know what to do to stay safe on the internet. Thank you very much. Are you there, Moji? She may have some issues.
Roger is missing.
Yeah, right. So there are so many things we can do. Like I said, campaigning, and so many things we can educate people, to do. Like I said earlier, as much as possible, people should use, secured connections where they can. It's always tempting to use, free connections or public connections. People should know that, yes, those public connections are not secured, and in such environment, people can steal your identity, and they can steal your data and so many things, and can make nasty things to happen to people. So we should, if we must use, public network, we must go through virtual private network, VPN, which encrypts, whatever you do. and there are pre-virtual VPNs on the apps we can use. Also, like I said, again, we must use strong passwords for whatever sense we are doing, um, particularly in the banking, platforms. People steal the login credentials because somehow they can crack. So if we can use stronger passwords that contain at least like about 12 characters or the combination of upper, and lower case and numbers and special characters, it is very difficult to crack. So we must continue to campaign and make sure, yeah, people knows what to do to stay safe online. And like Titi said, we must be suspicious of links that are not coming from direct websites and all pops on and so on and so forth. There are so many things to do to to stay online. So we need a lot of awareness and we need a lot of campaigning to be able to educate people and make sure people stay safe on the internet. Thank you very much again. I think Moji is back now.
Yes, please.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for that. And I don't know, is Mr. Ben still around to give his last word on what he thinks needs to be done to ensure a cyberspace for all, especially businesses, organizations?
Okay. Is boils down to creating more awareness for users, awareness around internet banking, how secure, how do you carry out banking securely, your multi-factor authentication. Basically, the Prof have said it all. Then I also want to add, if the government or private institutes can come together and, we develop a cyber security research and development center where we can conduct a lot of research and, we create innovations, technologies, and, that can also be exported, so that will help us to also understand well the attack trends within our own environment and how well to remediate and how well to also avoid. So just like other speakers have already said earlier, more awareness, and also we want to use the opportunity to also call on individuals, organizations, government to look into developing a cybersecurity research center, which will also contribute to a good security posture for the nation, for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone, for your time. I would like to recognize Miss of Tech Mirror. Thank you so much for being part of this show this morning. Thank you so much, everyone. Professor Mohamed Ajia of Digital Bridge Institute. Thank you so much, sir, for your insight, for your contribution. Also, I would like to appreciate Dr. Yele Okeremi of Precise Financial Systems. Thank you so much, sir, for your time and for being part of the program. Titi, thank you. You came early. You came early, and you were still around till now. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your Mr. Ben. Thank you. We appreciate Inlax Limited support, and we hope to get from Inlax cybersecurity team. Mr. Jide, I will much, sir. Ifi Ihono, I hope I'm correct.
Yes, you are.
Thank you so much, Ifi, for your patience. Thank you, Mr. Ayo Ebiome. Thank you so much. I also would like to appreciate members of the audience, Mr. Adeshino Adewale, Benga Kayode, Technology Mirror, Madam Fumilola Omojola, I hope I'm correct, Mr. Benga Kayode, thank you so much. Media and Digital Skills Center, thank you. Phil Aras, thank you so much. Pretty Mandy Comedy, thank you very much. Also, a big thank you to Matalata Gadzama. Thank you for your time. We thank Doris at the Nigeria Data Protection Commission. Thank you so much. We thank Mr. Patrick Nana of Enugu State Government. And also thank you, Dimekwe Sylvia. Thank you for your time. Omoye Iaza, thank you. Hilary Damisa, thank you so much. And above all, thank you, Dr. Bayera Gabi of Awareness and Development. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time. Thank you, Center for Cyber Awareness. Thank you for the platform and partnering with us for this campaign and for this awareness. Thank you all for your time, and we hope to have your support and partnership in the future. I am Mojisola Alabi of DigiVation Network. See you when we have another show. Bye.
Bye, Moji.
Bye, everybody. Pleasure meeting you. If I, Ben, Titi, I've already known Dr. Ele. So, bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you, Moji.
Bye,
Thank you,
Prof.
Vinny.
Bye, Moji. And please, all of you should learn to sue. Begin to use the law. Sue the offenders.